health. This is the level that we're talking about here. And just to prove this point, I'd like to make a comparison here. For example, when we travel between Tokyo to New York on plane, supposing that we make a round trip, it turns out to be that people are exposed to 190 microsieverts of radiation because when planes fly at a high altitude, they're exposed to this radiation from outer space, and also the X-rays that people take. Well, it accounts for the radiation level accounts for some 600 microsievert. So you can see that the digit is different from what was measured yesterday. And judging from this point, well, at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear plant, there are a number of problems occurring, and radioactive substances are being emitted. This is a fact. But the further away you are, it will be dispersed, meaning that the level is not something that will have an impact on people's lives. I want people to understand this. And thank you very much. That was a reporter, Yamasaki.
Now we'd like to go live to Fukushima, where there is a task force set up. This is the Fukushima Prefecture Disaster Headquarters. And it was announced about the new problem at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant has been announced to the media. According to the announcement at 5:45 this morning, flames were observed from the number 4 reactor building. The flames were seen from the 4th floor of the same area as yesterday's fire. However, the details are not known yet. The Disaster Task Force headquarters says that they are trying to gather information on a 24-hour basis, and the person in charge is trying to provide explanation. According to radiation level readings, 60 kilometers away from the power plant as of 7 p.m. in Fukushima City, 23.88 microsievert per hour, which is 500 times larger than normal level, was observed. However, this will not immediately harm human health, but just as a precaution, authorities are calling out to people not to leave their homes unnecessarily if it is not necessary.
We once again go to our reporter Yamasaki. Yes, from yesterday, we have been hearing that people are advised to stay inside and also evacuation. The area has been expanded, yes. Well, in the past, up until now, mainly around the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear plant, within a radius of 20 kilometers, there was an advisory to evacuate. And newly, it was announced that people within the area of 20 kilometers to 30 kilometers should remain indoors. So people are advised to remain indoors as much as possible. The government is saying that this is a precautionary measure. Yes, when people are advised to stay indoors, well, you should close the doors and windows and not ventilate the air because if there is radiation in the air outside, this would prevent the radioactive substances from coming inside the home. And also when you return from outside, you should try to brush off whatever you have on your clothes, and also wash your hands, face, and when you enter your home, because if you were to carry in the radioactive substances, this will spread the substances inside. And also when it's raining, I think you could buy a very inexpensive vinyl raincoat so that it is disposable. And please make sure that you try to avoid the rain being exposed to your skin as much as possible. This is the type of advice that I'd like to give to these people in this facility. Well, yes, it's inside and also the immediate surrounding area around the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear plant that they're recording high radioactive level. And well, yes, if well, this is just a precautionary measure, just in case the situation becomes more serious. Therefore, it is important that people continue to stay tuned to the radio or television and to follow the information. And also at the number 4 reactor building, there has been a blast and fire. Yes, we have been hearing again and again new events occurring at this plant. Yes. It started with the number 1 and then followed by number 2 and 3 reactors. And they were all in operation at the time of the earthquake, and they were automatically shut down. So this was as expected. But then after, there were a series of hydrogen explosions. Well, at the number 4 reactor, it was the same, but yes, a fuel. Even if you were to shut down the reactor, you have to cool down the fuel because it's extremely hot. But the problem is that there is this failure of this cooling mechanism, and as a result of there's heat and generating hydrogen. And for example, in the first case, the ceiling of the building blew off as a result of the blast, and also part of the containing facilities were damaged, and likewise the building was blown off.
Just so you know, the information at the top of the screen with the 50%, the 70%, etc. is the train line, different train lines in the greater Tokyo area, and whether they're running or not, and the schedule that they're running.
The fact that we are seeing these series of events happening, well, the cause is the same to begin with. And the news today, well, is that the number 5 reactor, well, it is slightly away to this left of the number 1. Well, it was not in operation, it was under inspection, but the water level seems to be slightly lower than usual. So people are keeping an eye on the number 5 reactor at TEPCO.
Many people have evacuated from the Minamisoma city after the great earthquake and tsunami, and also because of the trouble at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant. On the phone, we have the mayor of Minamisoma City, Mr. Katsunobu Sakurai. Thank you very much for answering our interview. Now, we have just heard about the new fire which broke out from the number 4 reactor building at Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant. Have you heard anything about this? Well, we haven't heard anything from the government or from the prefecture. We just heard the information on TV. Now, in addition to the tsunami, people were asked to evacuate or to stay inside, and I think everybody is having a very troublesome time. Are there a confusion scene? Well, I can't say, frankly, that there is no confusion. Everybody is enduring here, but everybody is trying their best. Everybody's trying their best to stay calm, so there is no confusion. Some people have voluntarily evacuated and moved out of the city. However, everybody is very anxious and concerned. So whether or not you evacuate, of course, it's very difficult to get accurate information, right? Yes. There is no information from the national government and also from the prefectural task force. We ask them and finally get information that we need. So most of the information we get is from TV or radio. We are trying to get answers through the emergency telephone hotline. However, it is very difficult to get information. And of course, many of the people are staying indoors, are sheltered indoors without being able to find their families. Yes, that is right. We have called on to citizens to remain indoors in their houses or in their evacuation shelters. But because of the tsunami and after the earthquake, 2 kilometers from the coastline is totally devastated. And already about 180 bodies have been recovered. However, we don't know how many are still left out there. The final death count may be more than 1,000, but we can't go out to search. People who have survived must be sheltered indoors because of the trouble at the power plant. We can't go out to bury the dead. We can't even mourn the dead. So the citizens are really facing frustration. And of course, there is no gasoline, no daily supplies. As I've said yesterday, within the 30-kilometer radius, people have been asked to stay indoors, but there's also this traffic control. There's this travel restriction outside of this 30-kilometer area. We are asking for supplies. However, because of these travel restrictions, people can't come into this area. And that's what the citizens are most concerned about. We can't receive the relief goods. We have been told that gasoline will come to this area. However, they can only reach Koriyama. They asked us to go out to get gasoline because the tank lorries can't come into this area. However, we will be out of supplies. We will run out of all supplies. And Koriyama is about 100 kilometers away from Minamisoma City. What about water and food? Well, water, sometimes the TV is getting wrong information. We fortunately are getting drinkable water, and with the help of Tokyo Electric we are getting electricity. But other supplies like gasoline, food, daily sundries, these are the things that we are lacking. And I'd like to ask for your help. There are many people who want to evacuate outside of the city, so please secure areas where people can evacuate to. Please tell us about shelters where we can send people to. And also, I'd like to ask the Tokyo Electric people to come see the situation here. I hope that they can come to see how troublesome and how devastated the situation is, how people are so anxious about the situation. We need information, and we also hope that Tokyo Electric can learn about our situation. It is getting very difficult to maintain the operation of the city. I hope that the government and the prefecture can support us. That is the one request that we have. So securing shelters and also gaining information about the devastated areas. Yes, and gasoline as well. We need shelters for people to evacuate to. And you need gasoline and daily supplies. Yes. So that is the request that we have. One last question. In Tohoku, I understand that it's getting cold. Yes, it was freezing cold this morning. How are the people enduring? Well, there is no kerosene in the shelters, and everybody says that it's too cold. They are hanging in there. But please, we need, first of all, the infrastructure so that we can get the supply. So shelters and also supply so that we can maintain the functions here. I hope that you can get this information out there. And we need support from the government. Thank you very much, Mr. Sakurai. That was the Minamisoma City Mayor, Mr. Katsunobu Sakurai, on the phone.
According to Tokyo Electric TEPCO, at 5:45 a.m. at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant, from the fourth floor of the fourth reactor building, a fire has been confirmed. This is closer to the location where the fire was observed yesterday. However, due to the radiation level, the area is inaccessible. And this has been notified to the fire department, and the information is being collected. At 5:45 a.m. today at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant, number 4 reactor building, at the corner to the northwest of the building, fire was confirmed at the 4th floor and were notified to the local fire department. It is believed to be close to the location where fire was observed yesterday, and this is the area where the spent fuel rod's pool is located. The radiation level in the area is high, and the details are being confirmed from the helicopters. Yesterday at 9:30 a.m. a fire was confirmed, but it was extinguished naturally. We will update you as soon as we receive further information.